Can you tell that a person is spiritually mature? How can you tell if so? What is our basis if the person is mature? Or how can you say that you are mature? Can you tell people that they are physically mature? Okay, we can discern that. We can tell that a person is mature, right? Physical, I'm talking about physical maturity. How can we tell that a person is physically mature? Like, oy, dalaga na siya. Oy, ulitaw na siya. We will know, right? Minsan ay dalagag ulitaw dire. Taas ka mo? What dili man ni children's ministry, no? So we can say that physically you're all mature. Amen? Okay? Are we all physically mature here? Yes? Yes. Why? Give me a gauge for physical maturity. Age? Perhaps. Yes, age. Pero dili man tanan nga niabot og 13 or 14 or 15, di ba? Na babae gidugo na. Perhaps age can tell, but there are signs in the physical where we can say that this girl or this boy is maturing. Di ba? Mag-change ang body. There's changes in the body. Mag-mens na siya. Pubic hairs. Uy, mature na ko. Nananita na. Animaho na lalaki, mabaho ng tingo. We gauge physical maturity and we can tell that people are mature with the signs. But how can we tell that a person is spiritually mature? What is our gauge? Some people make it a gauge nga. If they come to a church, they're regularly attending the church, they're there for many years, they must be a mature Christian. Can attendance speaks of spiritual maturity? Not necessarily. But you cannot be mature kung wala ka sa church. Right? Prayer meeting attendance. Is that a gauge for spiritual maturity? Not necessarily. But you cannot be mature if you don't go to prayer meetings or to any church activities. Now, church attendance or being active in church activities is not the basis alone for spiritual maturity. I've shared this before. Now, there's soul maturity and spiritual maturity. But they go hand in hand. If your soul matures, you will also mature in the spirit. This is how I define spiritual maturity. When you are able to fulfill, or when you are already fulfilling your purpose or your divine purpose, that which God has called you, then you are spiritually mature. Let me repeat that. When you are able to fulfill your divine purpose or divine calling, or when you are fulfilling it, you are spiritually mature or spiritually maturing. Did you get that? Sayon ra sabtan ba? Binisayon ako? But the question is, look at this. 90% of Christians don't know their purpose. Then how can you mature if you do not know your purpose? Some people mature in their soul, but they do not mature in the spirit. Now, there are many people who mature in their soul, but they did not yet spiritually mature because they don't know their purpose. Now, do you want to know that your spiritual condition? Now, imagine 20 years old na ka, pero gasup-sup lang gyapon. Dili na cute tanawon ba? And it's abnormal. Now, if you've been a Christian for many years and hinay ang imong growth, there's something wrong. Paul said, you should be teachers by now. Many lives should have been changed through you by now, in other words. And yet, you're still feeding on milk. I'm telling you, when the Lord looks at the church today, He could say those same words to many Christians. Now ask yourself, I should be a teacher by now. By now, I should have been winning many souls. Ask yourself, we need to grow mature spiritually in our soul. Soul refers to your emotions and your mind. Now, we know nga, daghan kay mga 20 kapin na diya, pero may siya, makaingon na nga, dili pa siya mature. Now, we're not referring to the physical, but the emotions and the mind. Bataot lang yan po, no? Gamay lang problema, mahilak dayon. Kita na mag-inana nga 30 anyos na. Dili gyapon ka sugakod o problema. Crying is not bad. Pero ka na bitawng dili pa ka decision og insakto. You know what I'm talking about? Amen? Some say nga ang mga babae daw kay 5 years mature, advanced in maturity when it comes to emotions and mind. Isa mga lalaki, mo ko nun ang mas maayo nga ang babae, kung magminyo, mas mangod ang babae. Kaya at least tupong-tupong na silang maturity. Now, spiritual maturity pertains to your emotion. Are you mature in your emotion? Now, when it comes to maturity in the Christian context, in the soul, are you able to forgive? Are you not easily offended? In other words, how much have you grown in love? Dili ra ka mo pasaylo, dili ka madali ma-offend, dili ka dali malain. Maski giilad na ka, sino kaya kung Kristo? Bless you, brother. The Lord wants to develop the fruit of the Spirit in you, in us. And that's the purpose of trials and testings and tribulation. That's why Jesus said in John chapter 14, in this life you will have troubles. Now, every trial and testing is an opportunity to grow in love. Let me repeat that. Every trial and testing is an opportunity to grow in love. Many people grow in love but they don't know their purpose. Sayang. Dili ko kabalo mo pasa siyang apelido, pero si anyway, Francis ako mabala. Ingon siya, regardless of the nature of our test, in spite of the circumstances surrounding them, there is one correct answer for every test we face. Becoming like Jesus in the test. Once the devil sees that what he was using to defeat you is now being redeemed by God to perfect you. Instead of becoming bitter when offended, you appropriate more love or more faith. Then the devil will retreat. Become like Jesus in the test, and you will pass your test. Whatever kind of test you are facing, who's facing a test right now? Amen. That's an opportunity to become like Jesus. In your test, become like Jesus. I like what Rick Joyner says in do not waste your test. Huh? Nice. Ayog sayangi ang imong pagsulay. Become like Jesus. Now, this is where we need to develop, okay, in our soul. Become like Jesus. Develop more love. But in growing in spiritual maturity, you need courage. Ingon si Lord kang Joshua, do not be discouraged. Take courage. Because it takes courage to become spiritual maturity. Know what is spiritual maturity? Okay? Spiritual maturity is knowing your purpose and stepping in, fulfilling that purpose and having the courage to step into that purpose that God has called you.